Originally, the Maui Conservation Alliance came into existence because some people felt like we needed better opportunities to network with each other. So we quickly turned into an organization that tried to tackle some of Maui's greatest conservation problems.
The Maui Conservation Alliance, or MCA, is an organization that has many decision makers from different agencies. And the reason it's really important is that partnership is the only way to appropriately address the threats that are being made daily to the environment.
And the reason it's so important that we do this, and a lot of these issues that we work on, we all work on in our individual organizations and individual agencies and such. But when we all come together collectively, we can figure out the most important priorities that we all need to work on and how we can leverage each other's skills and resources to really make a difference.
By working together collaboratively, by networking, we can learn a lot from each other and apply those lessons within our own partnerships, our own organizations. But by working together with one voice, as is the goal of Maui Conservation Alliance, we stand to gain a lot more and make a bigger difference for the conservation of Maui.
It's really important that any conservation organization doesn't undertake their work in a sort of isolated bubble. If you can break down those boundaries and work across those boundaries together, we can have a much greater concentrated effort on the biggest problems. We can come up with a shared vision for managing Maui's conservation lands. And it's that shared vision that allows us to speak with a greater, stronger voice, to garner support for the work that we're doing.
I think the Maui Conservation Alliance can benefit conservation by helping all of us refine and accelerate our efforts. So in ways like not duplicating the work of partners or, leveraging resources to get more work done, but also the coming together of the Conservation Alliance as a group and really have a much greater impact in terms of the messages we're trying to relay and the work we're trying to get done.
We've got species pouring in from other islands in our nursery trade, in our agricultural trade. We don't have enough inspectors. We lack the resources to really prevent new pests from getting to Maui. If we don't do a better job of starting to work together to stop those pests from coming to Maui, we're going to have species here that we don't even already have.
Some of the biggest invasive species threats for us here on Maui include feral hooved animals like pigs, goats, and deer. Plants like Myconia are a significant issue for us, and particularly in East Maui. So these are just a few of the biggest threats.
A couple of the really momentous successes that we had is we created some resolutions that were adopted by the Maui County Council. And one of the resolutions was about the importance of biocontrol and biological control agents that are specific to the host species, whether it's a plant, a fungus, whatever it is, and they only attack that species. And honestly, biocontrol is one of the most important weapons that we have against these invasive plants that could literally take over and devastate our native forests within a decade or so.
So the mission of the West Maui Mountains Watershed Partnership is to sustain source water resources and the ecological functions that the forest provides in collecting, filtering, and disseminating water resources for the island of Maui.
We also had another resolution that was adopted on the importance of watersheds, just watershed protection. Our fresh water, the high quality, the high abundance, is very much dependent on a healthy forest. And so what's really terrific is on Maui County, we really are Noko'oi. We have these legislators and leaders that understand what's happening in our native forests and the importance of our watershed. And we're really a leader throughout the state in terms of that.
The mission of the Natural Area Reserve System is to take care of some of the best remaining habitats. They have the greatest biodiversity, and they're all areas that we're going to look at to help recover endangered species in safe and protected areas. So Ahihi Kinau is a really special place. It was the very first natural area reserve created, and it also incorporates some of the best remaining coral habitat, has a large amount of fish biomass, fish diversity, and it's the only NAR, the only natural area reserve that is like that. Its conservation of them is actually protecting a global resource and a resource for each of us and for all of our descendants.
Another really exciting thing that's happening that we're working on is the Maui Island Conservation Action Plan. This is a strategic planning process. We're going to get together working with various stakeholders, but we're going to get together and essentially identify the gaps in conservation on Maui. Are there forests that need greater protection that we could be doing something on? And so we're going to do that and try and work together to identify these gaps and then strategically come up with a plan to address it.
The reason it's really important to tackle the threats today is that if they're left unattended, they're going to be worse. Once you have a rare species removed, and by doing nothing, you've already made a decision. So because our partners are literally our partners in time and space, where my fences end is often where theirs begin, and it's often the same habitat. And so we've decided that the only way to really look at it is in a comprehensive manner.
Like the rest of the Hawaiian Islands, we've lost over 2/3 of our native natural areas. But the really good news is we have 1/3 of them left. And when you compare that to some of the other states in the United States, we really do have much more of our old growth forests left in some of those other areas. And if you ever get the chance to visit a place like Waikamoi Preserve, below Hosmer Grove next to Haleakala National Park, you'll see that the native plants and animals there really represent the full complement of species that once lived on our islands thousands of years ago. And if we don't prevent these invasive species from taking over these natural areas, we'll lose them.
Our drinking water, the water for agriculture, the water for industry, all of that is coming from our watersheds, the East Maui watershed, the West Maui Mountains watershed. These are incredibly important, and we're not doing enough to protect them, and water is life.